I never thought I was gonna be making this video. I actually wanted to make this video months and months back, but I decided not to. And now I think it's the time because this situation just feels like it's getting worse, at least for me and some people I know. And this is coming from somebody who's never purchased a bike online or any bike parts in general. Not that I can remember. I go into the store to buy everything. Now, I'm the most, well, I wouldn't say the most patient, but I'm pretty patient when it comes to things because I'm pretty understanding and I know things take a while or there's a process to certain things. So I try not to rush people in what they do and stuff like that. For example, back in, I think it was a year or two ago maybe, I got a new fork for my Polygon Siskiyou D6 and it was a 29er. So I went in the store and I said, hey, do y'all have any forks in here? I need one for my bike and I want to put it on there and upgrade it. And I was showing them which one I wanted. And they said, no, we don't have that one in stock, but we can order it. And I'm like, oh man, when they say they going to order something, now you have a whole nother thing to worry about because it's like, okay, you got to order it, so I got to wait for it to come in, and then I got to still hope that you get it fixed in a somewhat timely manner for me to be able to ride within the next 2 weeks. So they ordered it. I was like, okay, I'll wait. I got another bike I can ride. So it was about a week after me waiting, and I called. I'm like, what's going on? Y'all haven't started on the bike or let me know anything what's going on, because you said the part would be in 3 days and it should be fixed in about a day or two, but it's been like 7 days and that's supposed to be 4 or 5 days. And they said, oh, we're sorry, we ordered the wrong fork. We ordered a 27 and a half instead of the 29, so we had to reorder it. And I'm thinking to myself, well, why didn't you call me and tell me that? If I would have just waited, you would have just let me wait 2.5 weeks before I got my fork in and got it upgraded and stuff. And that's what I think is going on with these bike shops. They just don't communicate for some reason. I don't know what it is. And I get a lot of people who say, what bike shop would you recommend in your area or this or that? And I'm just like, I don't really know, because I can't trust anybody at this point. A lot of my experiences have been like that, where they just don't communicate. If something get pushed back or you got delayed on something, I don't mind as long as you call and tell me. Then, I mean, most people are understanding. Just communicate with the people. And then after all that, they want you to spend all this money after you just experienced all this. It's like, dang, you just inconvenienced me this much and I gotta give you a lot of money? Come on now. Kind of like the GT La Bamba when I got the recall done with that. It was at the bike shop for about 7 months. And instead of calling me and letting me know, hey, we still haven't gotten anything or any info or nothing like that, maybe once every month or even once every 2 months when it's been 7 months, I had to keep calling and like, oh, we haven't heard anything. And my bike is just sitting there and I'm just wondering what's going on with my bike. So I'm like, why do I have to reach out to them when they're supposed to be gaining the customer's trust, in my opinion? Because once you gain the customer's trust, then you pretty much have a customer for life. And it's that one simple thing of just communicate, let them know what's going on. Most people are understanding, and that'll keep them coming back because they know they can trust you. And I think a lot of these bike shops are just failing to follow up with customers, and it's really leaving a bad taste in people's mouths. And a lot of times you got one time to impress a customer. They come in one time and like, hey, I wanted to come check out this bike shop. And then if they experience that, then they won't ever come back probably. So a lot of people, I think they take that for granted. That customer that just comes in, you got to treat them like a special person, because that could be a lifelong customer that could be huge for your business. I know a lot of people might say, that's why you should work on your own bikes and all this kind of crazy stuff. I don't want to work on my bike. That's too much work. That's too much time. That's like me saying, if something happens to your car, you should go work on it yourself, so you don't have to worry about this and that. That applies for everything. There's stuff that we just don't want to do, and we'll rather have somebody else that's their profession to do it for us, because that's what they're there for. And that's why I just take my bikes to the bike shop, because that's what they are there for. I like to communicate with them. I like the bond and just talking about bikes and stuff. and it's just the whole experience for me. I just like to ride the bikes. I don't like to work on them. Now, trust me, I get it. Some of those people probably not getting paid what they want to get paid, or just not excited about whatever it is about the job. But I think communication, that's just part of the job, because once the bike is done, you got to call the customer. So why not call the customer or let the customer know what's going on? If there's a delay or you got a hiccup in the repair or something, you just leave the customer in the dark and they don't really know when they'll get the bike back. Luckily, I have enough bikes where I can go ride a different bike if I need to. A lot of people are not that fortunate, which is even more important because they really need that bike back so they can ride it. But I've just been playing a game. I'm like, okay, I'll just sit here and wait and see how long it takes them to reach out to me or let me know my bike is done or just let me know something. And it's just been crazy. I'll give you one crazy example, which is why I think every customer should be treated the same way. When I first started mountain biking, I was getting better and better, and I was starting to look into a full suspension bike because I felt like I was ready to ride those trails and really elevate my riding. So I wanted to go to Trestle Bike Park, and I heard you needed a full face helmet for that. And I never had a full face helmet because I've never been at a place that pretty much required them. So I was looking around, and I went to a bike store, and I ended up seeing Kali in the store. And they were kind of in my price range too. So I said, hey, do you know anything about these Kali helmets? Can you tell me anything about them or whatever? And they were just short with me, blowing me off and this and that. And not to mention, I had bought bikes from them before, bikes that I do wheelies on and stuff. So because they were the only ones who sold the bikes. So I had to go there to get the bikes, which I'll come back to that in a minute too, which is crazy. So I'm asking about this Kali stuff. I just felt, I don't want to say disrespected, but not appreciated for my business. So I left the store and I ended up buying a helmet from somewhere else. And then months and months down the road, as a lot of you probably might know, now Kali is a sponsor of the channel. They sponsor a lot of my equipment that I use, my helmets, my pads and stuff like that. So I was a customer just starting out in your store, and now the helmet that I was asking you about, that company sponsors me, and now I don't have to come in the store anymore. But if you would have gave me a good experience, I could come back, maybe say, hey, thank you for introducing me to Kali helmets and stuff, and now I work with Kali. It could have been a whole situation, but because they didn't appreciate the customer, now I never go back in that store, and they don't really get to, I don't want to say benefit from it, but like they can't really be in that experience because they didn't appreciate the business I was trying to bring them. And then back to the wheelie bike. So that same store I was buying wheelie bikes from because they were the only ones who sold them. And now I got a connection to the company who does the wheelie bikes, the same ones I was buying in there. They just sent me one to make videos on and sent me one to have. So it's like I could have been going in there saying, hey, I used to buy these bikes from here. Now I work with the company. And I mean, you kind of know where I'm going with this. If you just treat the customer right, you never know who's walking through your doors. You never know who can do what for you or how you can impact them. And it's just unbelievable that all it takes is communication. And I just think these bike shops really lack communication. It's like, oh, well, maybe if we don't call them or such and such, I don't know, maybe they'll forget, or maybe they just don't realize that their bike is still here. We'll get to it when we get to it. It's like, no, we sitting here waiting on the call. We want to ride our bikes. We brought the bike in there for a reason. We want something done to it and we want to ride it. For the life of me, I just don't get how communication is so hard. I think that's a big thing that's killing a lot of these bike shops, because now we got YouTube where you can learn how to work on your own bikes. You can buy direct to consumer from a lot of brands now, so you don't even have to go in the store. If you have some kind of basic knowledge about bikes, you can build it yourself. A lot of people nowadays can get on YouTube and figure out how to fix stuff themselves. Some of the stuff that they say, oh, we'll fix it in a week or something, a lot of these customers come in and you can fix that in 10 minutes if you wanted to. I don't get why they don't just do that for the customer, to get them to trust you and come back and say, hey, this is my store. People like me, I can't recommend stores to anybody because this has been my experience with a lot of shops. So when people ask me, I'm like, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to send you somewhere where you might have a bad experience, because for me, it's hit or miss everywhere I go. So I just wanted to get this off my chest, because I think a lot of bike shops are killing themselves without even knowing it, or maybe they do know it and they don't care. But trust and communication is everything when it comes to these bike shops. It's bike shops everywhere, and you got lots of options. So why not try to get those customers who walk through your door to stay in your store and come back to your store? But let me know what you think about this, because I want to know if you're experiencing this, or is it just me? Like I said, I'm old school. I still go into bike shops even though I've had a lot of bad experiences. I wouldn't even say bad, just no communication. It's not like I go, I mean, except the one about the helmet, that was kind of bad. But it's not that they're bad, it's just that they don't communicate, and I don't understand why that's so difficult. Because if you say my bike will be done in a couple days, then okay, in a couple days. If it's not done, update me or something. Don't let a week go by after you just said it'll be a couple days, and then I got a call, and then that worries me, because if I call, then I feel like you rush through it, and then the bike comes back not the way it's supposed to be, and then I got to bring it back again. I've done that before, where they upgraded something on the bike, and then I get the bike back and the wheel is loose. Or I remember I got some brake pads done. They were the rim brakes. Got the brakes, what I got some new brake pads on them. The brakes wasn't even tightened. So they put the brake pads on there and didn't even tighten the brakes, so they were loose. So when I squeezed the lever, there was nothing happening because they forgot to tighten the brakes. It's been frustrating for me, and I just want to get this off my chest and let me know if you've experienced this. I think it all just comes down to communication. That's all it takes, and I don't get why that's so hard. I like my videos to be positive, but sometimes you got to get it off your chest, because this is just getting out of control. I'm hoping this video wasn't too negative, but I gotta get it off my chest, because I don't think communication is that hard. It can be done, and it can help a lot of bike shops if they just incorporate this in the business model. Make sure you communicate with the customer. It builds trust, and the customer will keep coming back and referring other people.